The air in containment block Gamma 7 always tasted stale, like recycled metal and old regrets. I've been stationed here for, well, I've lost count of the rotations. My only company is the shimmer of the energy field and the voice that comes from within it. His name is Xyler. He's the last of his kind, captured in the final skirmishes of the Outer Rim War. He doesn't look like the monsters from our propaganda vids. He's tall, slender, with skin that shifts like captured starlight. He sits just on the other side of the humming barrier. His form hazy, but his voice is clear as a bell, and he tells stories. Tell me about Cerelia again, I'd say, leaning my head back against the cold Durasteel wall. My rifle would be resting across my lap, its weight a familiar comfort. Xyler's voice would fill the sterile room, painting pictures with words. Cerelia, he'd begin, had twin sons, one of gold, one of silver. Our cities weren't built, jocks, they were grown. Spires of living crystal that sang when the solar winds blew. The rivers flowed with liquid light, and the fields shimmered with flora that tasted of sweet memories. I could almost see it, almost feel the warmth of those twin suns on my face, a stark contrast to the harsh artificial lights of the station. His stories were my escape from the endless gray corridors and the gnawing loneliness. He spoke of worlds where the sky was a velvet canvas, where civilizations communicated through symphonies of light, and where life wasn't a constant struggle for survival. But every story had a shadow. A creeping darkness he called the Void Scourge. A relentless, consuming force that turned vibrant worlds into silent gray dust. His people fought, but the Scourge didn't just destroy worlds. It erased them from existence, memory by memory. He was the only one who remembered. The sole archivist of a lost galaxy, it must be. Heavy, I said one night, the hum of the containment field the only other sound. Carrying all that, memory is a gift and a curse. Jocks, he replied, his voice softer than usual. It keeps them alive. He gestured to the empty space around him. But it reminds me of all that is gone. Over time, our routine became a strange sort of friendship. I'd slide a nutrient paste packet under the barrier's emitter. The field would crackle, but it would pass through. He'd nod his thanks, and I'd eat my own ration in silence, listening. We were two lonely souls at the edge of the universe, separated by a wall of light. Sometimes he'd reach out, his long, elegant fingers pressing against the inside of the field. I'd mirror the gesture, my gloved hand meeting his. I couldn't feel his touch, of course, just the faint static of the barrier. But it was connection. It was something real in a world that felt increasingly fake. Why do you listen, Jocks? He asked once, his gaze piercing through the shimmering veil. My stories are filled with loss. They are elegies for ghosts. I shrugged, looking down at my worn boots. Because they're beautiful, I said. And because it helps me remember that there's more to the universe than this war. More than just us and them. It was the most honest I'd been with anyone in years. Then came the night the alarms started. Not the usual low-level alerts for pressure fluctuations or power drains. This was a full-throated, system-wide scream. Red lights bathed the corridor in a hellish glow, strobing violently. A klaxon blared, a rhythmic pulse of pure panic. What is it? What's happening? Grabbing my rifle and scrambling to my feet. Xyler was gone. Space inside the containment field was empty, the shimmering light flickering erratically. Xyler, where are you? My heart hammered against my ribs. Had he escaped? Was this a trick? The automated system voice, cold and impersonal, cut through the noise. Containment breach imminent. Protocol Omega initiated, all personnel to evacuation points. But there were no other personnel. I was always the only one here. I spun around, my mind racing. Then, I caught my reflection in the polished surface of a deactivated control panel. And I froze. The face staring back wasn't mine. It wasn't human. The skin was pale, shimmering faintly under the strobing red lights. The eyes were large, dark, and filled with a terror that was entirely my own. High cheekbones, a slender jaw. It was a face I knew intimately, a face I had looked at for countless cycles. It was Xyler's face. I reached up, my hand trembling, and touched my cheek. The reflection did the same. This wasn't a reflection, this was me. No, I whispered, the sound alien and strange from my own lips. No, that's not possible. And then a new figure appeared inside the containment field. It coalesced from the flickering light, a ghost in the machine, a human soldier. He looked tired, his uniform worn, a rifle held loosely in his hands. He was sitting with his back against the wall, a faint, sad smile on his face. He looked exactly like the man I thought I was. Jocks, I breathed. The figure, the human soldier, began to dissolve. Not into smoke or ash, but into lines of code, into digital static. The nutrient paste packet I'd slid under the barrier hours ago flickered and vanished. The entire scene, the weary guard, the shared rations. It was all a projection. It's the containment field. The one I thought was my prison wasn't holding him in. It was projecting him for me. The alarms weren't for an escape. They were a system failure, a catastrophic shutdown. The human soldier, my friend Jocks, my only connection, looked at me one last time as he disintegrated. His voice wasn't real, just a recorded echo played back from the station's archives. Memory is a gift and a curse, the echo said. It keeps them alive. He vanished. And the story stopped. I was alone. Truly alone. I looked around the room, seeing it for what it was for the first time. It wasn't a pristine human military installation. It was a ruin. Wires sparked from the ceiling, panels were ripped from the walls, and a thick layer of dust covered everything. This place hadn't been active in decades. The truth crashed down on me with the weight of a dying star. There was no war. The war was over long ago. My people lost. The Void Scourge. It wasn't some cosmic horror, it was them, the humans. They had consumed our worlds, silenced our songs, and turned our crystal cities to dust. And I was the last one. The last Cerulean. A living relic kept in a crumbling human facility. They didn't have the heart to kill the last one, so they built me a cage of memories. A companion. It's a hologram named Jocks, programmed with the logs and personality profiles of a dead soldier, designed to keep my mind from shattering under the weight of total solitude. He was my guard, my friend, my anchor, and he was a lie. The alarms died down, leaving an even more terrifying silence. The red lights gave way to the dim emergency power. I stood there, in the middle of the wreckage, my alien hands hanging limp at my sides. My name is not Xyler. Xyler was the name of my world. My stories, they weren't his, they were mine. The containment field was never to keep me in. It was to keep the truth out. Now, the barrier is down. The hologram is gone. And all I have left are the memories, the real ones. And I finally understand what Jocks, the real Jocks, the human programment. Memory is a curse. Because now I remember everything. And I am utterly, completely alone. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales from the outer edges of imagination. See you next time.